Thank you, Mr. President. I would like to thank member and observer states of the Human Rights Council for their constructive participation during our UPR. Now, as a firm supporter of dialogue on human rights, we value today's substantive exchange and recommendations. And we are truly grateful to all states for their thoughtful contributions. Most of them were very constructive indeed. The UPR mechanism continues, we believe, in Pakistan to serve as a solid platform for meaningful dialogue and engagement. It has helped promote universal respect for human rights. I'm happy to say that we have truly benefited from the UPR process. The recommendations, it is shown by the fact that the recommendations emanating from our last review have galvanized wide-ranging actions in the country. And I'm confident that the feedback that we have received today will further help our work in this area in the future also. Mr. President, I'm pleased to note recognition and appreciation of the progress that we have made and the strong commitment that Pakistan attaches to the realization and enjoyment of basic human rights as well as needs of its citizens. Today's dialogue also makes clear the mutually reinforcing nature of peace and security, of development and of human rights. As a developing country, we continue to grapple with social and economic shocks of the COVID pandemic, climate-induced natural disasters and a tense geopolitical situation. We are aware of our resource constraints, the implementation challenges and the need for continued progress. However, what gives us confidence is that our direction is clear and that our resolve is firm to advance respect for human rights, promote sustainable development and the rule of law in the country through a mutually reinforcing policy approach. In furtherance of these core national priorities, we will thoroughly examine, I can assure you, the recommendations which were made today. We have endeavored to address majority of the questions and observations that were raised during the review through the remarks that have been made by me and my delegation. Owing to time constraints, clearly some questions or themes might have not been adequately addressed today. We will take these recommendations home and discuss with the national stakeholders with a view to weaving them to the maximum extent possible to our national human rights policy framework, which I believe should remain the bulwark of the way forward. Mr. President, in line with Islamic teachings, and I do want to emphasize, in line with Islamic teachings as well as the vision of our founding fathers, we strongly believe that protection and promotion of human rights is the fundamental duty of a state, and that advancement of human rights provides the anchor for peaceful and inclusive societies. We are determined truly to shaping an inclusive society where the basic rights, needs and dignity of everyone is fully respected and advanced. At the conclusion of the fourth UPR, I would like to reaffirm the government's steadfast, strong commitment for the promotion and protection of human rights of our people. It is our core responsibility. We will do so by consolidating the work we have done in human rights area, focusing more on strengthening the implementation framework and by mobilizing the resources required even in a very tense and difficult resource environment for reasons that I have mentioned before. Advancing sustainable development, pursuing an inclusive approach, facilitating civic participation and enhancing good governance will remain hallmarks of our national efforts in this area. Mr. President, allow me to thank the many delegates and the delegations for the condolences that they have offered and the expressions of solidarity for the aftermath of floods, the resource gap that Pakistan is still experiencing, for the recent accidents and the loss of lives, and especially for the grim reality of today's blast in Peshawar that many delegates have offered. This reminds us also that Pakistan truly is a country which does have a credible, verifiable action towards terrorism. In fact, we continue to be the victims of terrorism, and we would encourage all countries to not use terrorism as a tool of diplomacy, but really understand that terrorism is a threat to all of us. When we stoke terrorism in the other country, we will all burn in its fire. Lastly, Mr. President, but not least, allow me to really appreciate your able stewardship of this process. I wish to also convey our deep gratitude to the Secretariat and for its support throughout the process to our delegation, as well as the interpreters for their professionalism. I also want to avail this opportunity to thank in advance the members of our Troika, who still have some work ahead of them, Argentina, Nepal and the Gambia, for facilitating our UPR so well so far. I thank you, Mr. President, for your time and your indulgence.
हर मुख्तलिफ न्यूज़ अपडेट के लिए iNews 365 को सब्सक्राइब करें और हमारे साथ जुड़े रहने के लिए नोटिफिकेशन बेल को क्लिक करना ना भूलें ताकि हर खबर रहे आपकी नज़र में।